systems. There's systems all around us, controlling and micromanaging and abusing at every turn. The Department of Education system, the military system, the corporate system, the judicial system. I just watched a little video and it made me go back to where I was in the military. And we talk about slavery being over. But let me tell you first about what triggered me to go where I'm going to go today. And I'm going to deal with some truth. And it's not going to be for you this time. It's going to be for me. Set me free. I just watched as a major general, black, sitting in his car, was actually profiled, but he didn't know it was profiled for being who he was as a particular person because of something he did to a European's brother. But he unnecessarily harassed him, told him to get him out of the car, and twisted his arm behind his back like they normally do, and then he punched him in the stomach. And he didn't realize that the Major General was married to an influential woman, a commissioner's daughter. And so that whole anger and bias worked against this officer. But the Major General didn't press charges. But something worried him about why this man did what he did. And he found out that this European man had a brother that was in the military with the Major General, and the Major General had to discipline and speak against him because he was endangering, I guess, a mission while he was in the military. And that led to the younger guy's brother actually his life turning upside down and him going through a lot of changes, something similar to the changes that we all go through as black people. You always say it comes down to color. Well, that's another system, racial system. But I'm going to tell you about the system that I subjugated myself to. And I thought it was the best thing because at that time I didn't want to do right. Didn't want to go to college or anything else. But when I signed those papers for the military, I didn't realize I was going from one system to another system, which is the most complete system outside the judicial system. And I'm talking about complete control over individuals. Like you have an overseer on a plantation and you have slaves in the field. And that's exactly how I was treated for the first 2 years that I was in Germany. How in the world that 40 years ago, I can still remember the commander's name and the first sergeant's name, the one who had me picking up cigarette butts and had me picking the green grass between the cracks of the concrete simply because I wanted to just stand up and be a man, but they wanted to break me. And you know what? I thought at all of the ways that I could actually fight against them, you know, I thought that I was doing something. But I realized after a while, they had broken something in me. I don't know about breaking my spirit, but they broke me from the person I was and created another person, a person who was far more like a creation than himself. They created another person. That's what I can say. And that's what slavery does. Okay? Now, would I call myself a slave? No. Would I say I was subjected to a slavery system? Yes. And a lot of people go into the penal or judicial system and, you know, they they look at jail as being the most heinous or most difficult position to be in. But I tell you, preparing for war and having somebody teach you how to kill and prepare you to be killed is another type of it's mind altering, emotional roller coaster ride where you have people that can put you in the jail, just like a police officer can put you in jail out here. But the only thing, it's more severe and it's more rigid. And a lot of times we can't find out until later what something like that does to a human being. Okay? This is why I say you make up all of this thing about race, but we all human beings, no matter what hue we are. You're still a man or a woman. And you use those things to try to break people and make them into what you want them to be so you can exploit them. And I know that I was exploited, and I know what I had to go through. And even today, I can see the effects of those things that happened to me. And I can see the effects that it has on other people, especially black people. But a lot of black people can't see. And so this is why I said this is freeing for me, because a lot of times we hold on to a lot of emotions that we should have let go a long time ago. But that movie, that video today, it sent me back to a little town called Erlangen. And it showed me that all the healing that I have done, I still have a lot more to go. And I understand the Buffalo Soldiers, because the Buffalo Soldier was either going to be a slave or he was going to be a soldier. Just like I figured if I didn't leave the streets, I would be buried, or I'd go and submit myself to this military system. I just didn't realize that it was going to do something to me. And it actually, for 4 years, it was going to turn me into GI, government issue. I'm not even my own person no more. I'm what the government says I am. And they give me some dog tags to prove it. Now, I'm just talking about me, younger brothers and sisters, and human beings out there. We all have our demons. But you know, it's about healing. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have still a long way to go. There was a young man that got on here and he talked about the hate that he had for the people that misused his ancestors and his forefathers. But he doesn't realize that they misused him too. Okay? Just today, we are still slaves to systems. Remember that when you're in the corporate world. Remember that when you're in the judicial world. Remember that when you're in the military world. Understand that, you know, you are not your own person. When anybody when they feed you, they tell you what to do, and you don't have free reign over your thoughts or your actions. You are a slave. Now, you can think what you want, and I don't care the color you want. I just know that usually where I was, they were still talking about KKK when I got there in the lunchroom, okay? And most of the people that I had over me were Europeans. And if you want to understand what hardship is, give total control to a European over a black man, and you will understand what slavery is. Out.